Recall from the last video, we've done the journal entry number for the DF table. Now we need to create 6 position rows to help generate the date, account, and amount columns for each transaction. Again, given the difference in accounting practice, the accounting logic described in this series of tutorials is only for demo purposes. It might be different based on your location. Concepts covered here is meant to be minimalistic. I'm not held responsible for any errors, incomplete or misrepresented information, and/or any harmful effects associated with the materials in my video. By watching this video, it's assumed that the viewers bear all the risk, both current and potential losses associated with this video. Okay, enough for disclaimer. Let's dive in. As I mentioned earlier, each journal entry has 6 rows. In other words, date has 6 rows, account has 6 rows, and the amount also occupies 6 rows. Go to this cell, equal PY tab, and I'm going to add 3 column groups, each with 6 columns of data. df equals df.assign to the new column names. Here I'm just using the column names in our result. As you can see on our result, there's a column called date, and there are the columns account ACCT, and this one amount AMT. Here, let me assign columns date 1, date 2, and so on. Let me fill in all the date columns. The second group of data is account, which refers to the GL, general ledger account number. Then fill in the amount columns. Mentioned earlier, we know that the first 3 rows of the transaction are for the withdrawal. Date 1 is holding the check date for the withdrawal. That's just this transaction. The withdrawn amount, $100. So for date 1, we just put in df.checkdate. You can either type .checkdate, which is the column name, or place the current name inside a square bracket after the table df. Here I'm showing you both, but in real practice, it's totally up to you. The reason why I showed you both, because in some situations, like check day, some might forget the separation underscore, leaving the space in between, and it will cause problem. In case you have long column names, simply type it like this, check day space 1, something like that. But in our case, we can just leave it like this as we've named our columns properly. Check day for day 2. When you take a look at our result, the withdrawal part only takes up the first 2 row positions. So withdraw only occupies position 1 and 2. Position 3 is 0. If you put a dash for position 3, it will be treated as string. If position 3 for date has different data type, it will affect datetime calculation. That's why it's better using numerics here. Position 4 for date is deposit date. It's the same for position 5. Position 6 should be 0. Let's move on to account. Here, I've put withdrawn bank GL for position 1 and 2 under the date column. It's not the case. We'll fix it later when we wrap up in the next few videos. So we'll just leave it with the withdrawal bank GL now. Position 3 for account should be 0, even if it does nothing to the interbank transaction, because position 3 and 6 are reserved for transactions involving foreign currencies. That's why the zeros are there. We put deposit bank GL for position 4, which refers to this column from the bookkeeping data. It's easy to memorize. Withdrawn bank GL for withdrawal, deposit bank GL for deposit. Again, I put deposit bank GL for both positions 4 and 5, which should be fixed later. Position 6 is 0. Now we do the same for the amount. Here I put withdrawn amount for position 1 and 2. Again, it will be fixed later. So for this video, I'll just leave it, as it won't affect how we use the position field to return the amount column value. Position 3 is 0 for position 4 and 5. Again, I put deposit amount, and they will be fixed later. Control Enter. There, I encountered problem like fixing the typo for date position 5. Control Enter. The data frame area is too small to show all the 18 columns we've just added. So I decided to show only the 18 columns that are appended to the right of the DF data frame and chop off the original bookkeeping data. Since this cell is jam-packed already, simply do it in another cell, equal py, tab, then df.log, where we need to fit in our needed rows and columns. We need all 3 rows of transactions, so I put a colon for the row inside df.log. For the column, we need to start from the column JE, go to Python object, click it, Excel value, and you should see column JE all the way to amount 6, whereas the bookkeeping data are there. What we need are these appended columns. So escape, let's go back, click it, and select Python object. Equal py, tab, slice the data frame df by df.log and put in the placeholder row and column. Mentioned before, replace row with a colon as we need all 3 transaction rows. For column, we need to start from JE all the way to amount 6. df, control, enter. Click here, Excel value, and it should look like this. These are the 6 date columns, 6 account columns, and 6 amount columns. Okay,